Everyone you've ever met has shown you a version of themselves. Not necessarily a fake version, a curated one, the version they want you to see. But here's the problem. People reveal themselves most clearly when the performance becomes expensive, when they lose, when they're wrong, when you say no, when someone beneath them can't offer them anything, and especially when you succeed. So forget the perfect smile. Forget the impressive words. Today, we're watching the moments people have the hardest time controlling. 7 signals, 7 pressure points. And by the end, you'll have one simple rule for reading people without becoming paranoid. Watch the pattern, not the performance. Welcome to MindWire. And remember, this is armor, not a weapon. Before we start, one rule matters more than all 7 signals combined. One behavior proves almost nothing. Someone avoiding eye contact doesn't automatically mean they're lying. Someone becoming defensive doesn't automatically make them manipulative. Someone being quiet doesn't automatically make them dangerous. Context matters. Baseline matters. Repetition matters. So don't watch for one suspicious moment. Watch for behavioral patterns that repeat across different situations. Ask yourself, does this person's behavior consistently match the image they present? Because that's where the seams begin to show. Signal 1. Watch actions, not words. Words are cheap. Actions cost something. Anyone can promise they'll change. Anyone can say they respect you. Anyone can tell you they're loyal. But what happens tomorrow? And the day after that? That's where character becomes visible. Think about someone in your life right now. They tell you one thing, but repeatedly do another. They apologize, then repeat the same behavior. They promise they'll be there, but disappear when you actually need them. They say they support you, but become strangely competitive whenever you succeed. Don't ask, what did they say? Ask, what do they repeatedly do? Because a single promise can be manufactured in seconds. A consistent behavior requires maintenance, and consistency is much harder to fake. Here's the question. If I removed everything this person says about themselves, would their behavior tell the same story? If the answer keeps being no, pay attention. Pattern beats promise. Signal 2. Watch them when they lose. You don't really know someone when everything is going their way. Anyone can be gracious while they're winning. The interesting moment comes when the outcome doesn't favor them. They lose an argument. They don't get the promotion. Someone else receives the attention. Their plan gets rejected. Someone tells them no. Watch what happens. Do they accept disappointment? Can they congratulate the person who won? Can they admit they were wrong? Or does the personality change? Suddenly, they're bitter, dismissive, blaming everyone else, turning the situation into an attack. This doesn't mean one bad reaction reveals someone's entire character. People get frustrated. People have bad days. But repeated inability to handle losing tells you something. Because pressure doesn't necessarily create character. It reveals which parts of character are hardest to maintain under pressure. Ask yourself, who are they when they don't get what they want? That person may tell you more than their best day ever could. Signal 3. Watch how they treat people they don't need. Here's one of the most useful observations you can make. Watch how someone treats people who have nothing obvious to offer them. A waiter, a receptionist, a stranger, a junior employee, someone who made a mistake, someone who can't improve their status, someone who can't open a door for them. Because when there is no obvious reward for being respectful, the behavior becomes more informative. Do they remain patient? Do they speak to people with basic dignity? Or does the charm disappear the moment status disappears? Again, one rude interaction isn't a personality diagnosis. Look for repetition. especially when the person believes nobody important is watching. And here's the question. Does their respect depend on what someone can do for them? Because if kindness only travels upward, it may be reputation management. Real character isn't proven by how impressive you are around powerful people. It's revealed by how you behave when there's nothing to gain. Signal 4. Watch for changes, not lie signs. Now we get into the part most dark psychology videos get wrong. There is no magical facial expression that proves someone is lying. No single eye movement, no guaranteed body language trick. But there is something far more useful. Change. You know someone's normal behavior. They avoid a question they normally wouldn't avoid. A specific topic changes. They suddenly become extremely precise unusually about irrelevant details. They become noticeably defensive. Or they start explaining things you never asked about. None of these proves deception, but a sudden deviation from someone's normal pattern can tell you something changed. And that's when you investigate with questions instead of assumptions. Don't think, they looked away. They're lying. Think, something about this subject changed their behavior. Why? That's a much more powerful way to read people. Because you're not pretending to have a human lie detector. You're observing inconsistency. And inconsistency deserves attention. Signal 5. Watch what happens after flattery. Some compliments are genuine. Some are simply compliments. But sometimes praise becomes a tool, especially when it arrives unusually fast, before trust exists, before you've actually done anything to deserve the level of admiration being given to you. You're different from everyone else. I've never met anyone like you. You're the only person I can trust. It feels good. And that's precisely why it can be powerful. The important question isn't, did they compliment me? It's, what happens when I stop giving them what they want? Do they still respect you when you disagree? Do they remain warm when you establish a boundary? Can they tolerate you having an opinion they don't share? Because genuine respect doesn't disappear simply because you stopped being agreeable. So watch the transition. Admiration is easy. Respect under disagreement is harder. And if someone's warmth depends entirely on your compliance, the compliment may have been less about appreciating you and more about positioning you. Signal 6. Watch what happens in silence. Here's something most people overlook. When a conversation becomes uncomfortable, most people rush to fill the silence. Don't. Ask the question. Then stop. Let the other person answer. Don't rescue them. Don't immediately rephrase the question. Don't give them the answer you're hoping they'll give. Just listen. Because silence creates space. And inside that space, people sometimes reveal more than they intended. They may change the subject, over-explain, contradict themselves, volunteer information you never asked for, or simply become uncomfortable. But here's the important distinction. Silence isn't an interrogation weapon. You're not trying to psychologically corner someone. You're giving them room to speak without doing the work for them. And sometimes what someone chooses to add, when you stop talking, is more revealing than the answer you originally asked for. So next time you ask an important question, don't be afraid of the silence. Listen to what fills it. Signal 7. Watch how they respond to your success. This is the one people remember. Don't only watch how someone behaves when they win. Watch how they behave when you win. Tell them good news. You got the opportunity. You achieved the goal. You met someone. You received the promotion. You accomplished something you've worked for. Then watch. A genuine friend doesn't have to perform excitement perfectly. They might be tired, distracted, having a difficult day. But over time, supportive people generally make room for your success. The concerning pattern is different. Your achievement gets minimized. Your success becomes a competition. They immediately explain why it isn't that impressive. They redirect the conversation back to themselves. Or they congratulate you, then attach a criticism. That's great, but anyone could have done that. You got lucky. And sometimes the words sound supportive while the behavior communicates something else. So ask yourself, who celebrates my success without needing to make themselves part of it? Because your success is a mirror. Some people look at it and see you. Others look at it and see themselves. Now put all 7 together. 1. Watch actions, not words. 2. Watch them when they lose. 3. Watch how they treat people they don't need. 4. Watch behavioral changes, not imaginary lie detectors. 5. Watch what happens after the flattery. 6. Watch what fills the silence. 7. Watch how they respond to your success. But remember the rule that connects everything. One moment is an observation. Repeated behavior is a pattern. And patterns are what deserve your attention. You don't need to label everyone. You don't need to become suspicious of everyone. You don't need to search every conversation for hidden manipulation. You simply need to stop ignoring repeated contradictions between what someone says and what they consistently do. You don't need to become colder to protect yourself. You need to become more observant. Because the goal isn't to walk into every room thinking, who is dangerous? The better question is, what is this person's behavior consistently telling me? And once you start asking that question, you stop being hypnotized by charm. You stop confusing confidence with character. You stop confusing apologies with change. You stop confusing attention with respect. And you stop judging people exclusively by the version of themselves they perform for you. If this video made you think of someone immediately, don't name them. Just comment, I see the seams. Subscribe to MindWire for the next breakdown, where we'll examine what happens when you finally stop giving someone the reaction they've been trying to provoke. Send this to someone who needs to hear it. And remember, observe the pattern. Protect your boundaries. Never mistake awareness for paranoia. Stay observant. Stay skeptical. Stay MindWire. Stay